All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dave Knows Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, David Lee. And this episode is long overdue because finally, we're going to be talking about my Backyard Wrestling Federation. Now, I have to say before we begin, this is not in any way, shape, or form an endorsement to Backyard Wrestling Federations. I am not endorsing this at all. Do not do professional wrestling moves at home. Professional wrestling is to be done by professionals only. So I cannot stress this enough, do not do this at home. But on that note, let's talk about all the fun we've had doing this at home. All right? I mean, but, we were young and stupid back then, so we made it to adulthood. But, luckily, you should not try this at home.
Barely.
What are we talking about?
All right.
Only the wrestling.
Oh, actually, let me start by introducing everybody. First, let's introduce, been on the show before, Sean. How you doing?
Doing good. Nice to be back.
Nice to have you back. And also introducing on the show for the first time ever, we have, for the first time, even though his music has been on the show for numerous occasions, and almost every single episode, we have the composer of said song, Eric Duell.
What's up, know-it-alls?
Good to finally have you on the show.
Good to
I'm
be
here too.
Yeah, and this
Hi.
is Lou Sarapilia, and Lou.
That's all you want to know about me. Wrestling.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the name of our federation, which was the Neo Wrestling Federation. Sean right here came up with that, and Sean, tell us where you got that inspiration from.
Basically, we had been doing the Backyard Wrestling League for a while, and we never actually had a name put in place. So, if you listen to any of our old videos that we had recorded, you'd see different names thrown out, depending on, whoever was behind the mic at that for that particular match. But Dave actually shut it down briefly for a little while, though in high school time it felt like eternity
like 2 weeks
had
probably.
passed since we hadn't done the wrestling league. So Lou and I decided we were going to do our own, and we were just coming up with different names. And
We were in psychology class or something when we did that.
just instead of actually doing our work, we were trying to come up with a name. And it being the 90s, the
Role
Matrix
models.
was like the coolest thing at the time, so we came up with the Neo Wrestling Federation. Because we thought we were going to be new and edgy and cool.
And we were. Still are.
But then about, I think it was like the next weekend, Dave called and was like, all right, let's do this again. We're like, we were going to do our own thing. We got this name. And he's like, well, just use the name here. I was like, well, all right, that makes sense. We'll just keep it going. So that's pretty much the origin.
All right, so now we got the origin of the Federation out of the way. And for the record, we also didn't do this in the backyard. We did this in my living room.
That is true.
Our tagline was, we were too good for the backyard.
Yeah.
That's our tagline?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, we had no one to advertise to, but
That's-
we had
yeah,
one.
fair
We were
enough.
too good for the backyard, and we also didn't like the idea of jumping from high places.
That's true. It was cold out there sometimes too, so it's warmer inside.
It's like we really didn't like getting hurt.
We also had a website.
That was
True, an Angel Fire website.
Angel Fire
Or-
or GeoCities or whatever the heck
Yeah.
it
Or
was.
was it more of a web page?
It was a page with a scroll bar that took me hours to figure out how to do
We had
it.
a message board.
We did. We had a
Yeah.
message board. I actually made a character description for all of us, which was basically the four of us and just everybody else we played.
And that reminds me, let's talk about who all of us were. Lou, let's begin with you.
My name was Rage, as you can tell over here. I self-advertise. My character was sort of kind of supposed to be this really tough, like muscle-bound dude, but I wasn't. I was supposed to be like a destroyer and come in there and cause all these problems, and I just wound up yelling a lot about things. And I think I lost my first match.
You were a jobber to the stars.
I was a jobber to the stars, exactly.
Actually,
Originally, I came in there, I think I said as your brother or something like that, like the whole Kane Taker thing.
Something like
And
that.
Sean's like, "Oh, this is my bro, Rage," just to make sure it was generic.
Keep it vague.
Yeah, that way there is no real tie there later on. But it was different. My inspiration was basically just any short, angry person.
You might have the coolest finish, though.
The
Yeah.
Whiplash.
League.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
That reminds me. I don't know if you know this. What was your weight in high school?
I was about.
Why you gotta bring this
Yeah,
up?
seriously.
No, because I want to know if, since he was our monster, I want to know how big.
Oh, no.
Did you weigh the most out of all of
I
us?
was 185. Yeah.
He wasn't our monster.
Yeah.
We brought in
Titan.
Titan or
Oh, yeah,
conceptually
yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Hyde.
Right.
Our
Well-
monsters were what they should be in the WWF, a showcase that shows up once in a while,
Mhm.
not
Right,
someone who
right.
stays on the card.
All right, Sean, tell me about your character.
I was Scorpion, blatantly, like Sting being my favorite wrestler. Mentioned that last time I was on the show as well. I'm gonna probably say it next time I'm on the show too. But definitely, took inspiration from there. Took my finish from there as well, the Deathlock. And once I did the death drop once too, but Dave didn't feel very good after I did the death drop.
Oh,
so
no.
I don't think we ever did the death drop again.
That does bring up two interesting points. Like, one time, me and Sean thought it'd be a good idea to lay out couch cushions on my floor, on my hard floor, and we thought that
safety
that would
first, people.
Yeah, that would protect us.
Safety's somewhere near the top of the list.
So now we could be as stupid as we want, and that's when Sean did the death drop. But my head hit in between the couch cushions, and I actually dropped right on the floor. And so
I was actually a little upset though because it looked so real. I was like, "Let me just cover you," and you're like, "No, turn off the camcorder."
All right, and then the other thing, do you remember why you got the Scorpion Deathlock finisher specifically? Because it was between me and you. Do you remember this?
Well, it went with my gimmick, but no, I don't remember.
We were both arguing about who got to do it. I wanted to do the sharpshooter, and then you wanted to do the Scorpion Deathlock, but I couldn't do it, and you could, so that's how you won that.
But no, we made up for it, though. I taught you how to do the clover leaf, and
Right.
so that became the Sunset Strip, I believe, was your secondary finish.
And I guess I will go into my character. I was the Hollywood Outbreak. Outbreak coming off of the movie Outbreak.
Yeah, I'm sure all of your listeners have seen that one.
That has not gotten the reputation it deserves. A lot of people keep forgetting
That's
about
a monkey thing?
Yeah, that was the one with the monkey.
All right, there we go.
I feel like there was 100 movies out at the time
Yeah,
that
it's
disease is
quarantine.
Well, that was
those
the
things,
that
yeah.
was the monkey
the
virus
one that
movie.
kicked it off.
Yeah, that was the one. And Hollywood was because our federation had a splinter faction of the NWO, and with the NWO having a leader, since I was a leader, I had the moniker Hollywood, just like Hulk Hogan took on the moniker Hollywood. So that's why I was the Hollywood Outbreak.
And I had bylaws, yeah.
Yeah, so I had this whole movie actor kind of thing. It was before The Miz and The Rock started doing it. Yeah, that was me.
But after Hogan.
Yeah, whatever. And then we have Duel. Tell us who you were.
I was Creeping Death after the Metallica song Creeping Death. But my character was based off of Steve Austin. Sean and Dave approached me.
Kind of more Sandman than Austin.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well,
But
Steve
you were-
Austin's based off of Sandman.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go, yeah. But that's what you were going for because you had an NWO
Right.
faction and you had
Yeah.
another faction
Yeah.
called Hardcore. So you guys were looking for an anti-hero Austin type. So that's how you brought me in.
And-
Whether I actually, hit the mark on that is up for debate.
And the thing I wanted to bring you up last for is because you're, unlike all of us who we got to, mold our character off of who we wanted to, you came in relatively late and really quickly. We threw you in there and we wanted to make you like a main event. So there was a lot of you were the first creation that me and Sean were like, well, what can we do?
You got to push over me.
Yeah,
Thanks a
how
lot,
do we?
man.
Yeah, whatever. It's
Still
like-
resent it.
I remember too. We actually came up
Right.
with his finish for him
Yep.
too because, he wasn't, no
But
offense, you weren't going to
what-
do anything crazy.
What was your finisher?
It was the beer can DDT. Very effective.
And explain to everyone what that was.
Well, just like Steve Austin, I would call for a beer, and off camera, someone would toss me an O'Doul's beer.
Yes, in case you were
course.
Oh,
curious
wait,
to know
are we all
how.
have
we
to
did.
say O'Doul's?
Yeah.
All right.
In case-
Non-alcoholic beverage.
In case you were curious to know how a bunch of teenagers got what we used,
Yeah.
it was not alcoholic beer.
Every single time.
Because his name is Duel, and it's
Yeah,
spelled
man.
differently, but you see.
Yeah.
So,
It's
It all
branding.
worked together.
yeah.
So,
So anyway, continue. One time I think we used an actual beer can one time. I think
We may have.
I think we
I'm
got
sure.
I think there was one time we got a Bud can and
It
we
was
used
probably-
Bud or
probably
Natty Ice
warm
or
as-
Milwaukee's
Yeah.
Beast. Yeah.
it was
Little-
empty and we just used it.
Little ye old English.
No, it was definitely not that.
The 40-ounce bottle. DDT.
I think we got one out of a garbage can though one
Oh
time.
God!
May
I,
have.
I hope that's not true.
I hope it's not either, but it
I
probably
deny
was.
everything.
So yeah, continue telling us what the beer can TDT was.
Right. So I would call for a beer, and then I would open it up, give myself a little bit of a beer bath, and then drop the empty can on the floor and DDT my opponent onto the beer can.
Because everyone knows that a empty beer can is a devastating surface to hit.
like-
Much more
It's
effective
like
than
steel
just,
chair and barbed wire. Beer
It
can.
could get
It's up
pretty
there.
sharp, okay?
Yeah, that
Landed the wrong
aluminum.
way.
is
If you
a
hit
son
the
of a gun.
corner, it really
Yeah.
hurts.
And I said this on commentary, and okay, I did the commentary for a lot of
Well,
episodes.
guys, Dave did
Yeah, yeah.
everything. Sorry for cutting you up. But,
No,
Dave,
no.
but Dave did the editing. Dave did the sound effects. Dave did the commentary. And honestly, without Dave...
The Mitcheltron.
Yeah, Mitchell.
Oh, thank you.
It would have just been a bunch of morons kicking and punching each other and doing some random moves, but he made it...
Actually,
Okay.
I want to jump in on that because it started off with
a bunch of morons jumping around.
Yeah, essentially, Dave and I, our first match, I think it was like 35 minutes, and we just took turns doing moves, and eventually we were like, all right, this is boring.
The criticism people have of indie wrestling now.
It was torture to watch, though. So after that, we sat down, we were like, all right, like, we're going to plan out the finish in 3 spots leading up to it, and all of a sudden, like, it was actually fun to watch, too.
Right.
Like, it was awesome.
And I definitely want to talk about our system a little bit later. So make sure.
The gun.
Yeah, but I do want to talk about that. But yeah, so it was a collaborative effort, and things just got better. Like there was cuts, and there was edits, and there was like as they mentioned, a Mitcheltron. The owner's name was Jim Mitchell, and my big screen TV in the back would be that, and there would be a little video package that played in the background.
With Scorpion Winds was probably my favorite. It's like taking the clip from Mortal Kombat.
Right, from Mortal Kombat. I came up with for a commentary for it is every time he did the beer can DDT, I would say a silver bullet in between the eyes, which I thought was pretty cool. No one heard it or cared, but still.
Yeah. Oh yeah, since we actually did get to show one person outside of the Federation our videos once, and he was a huge fan, which we did not see coming.
Yeah, because we were just trying to do something that was what we wanted, what we liked about wrestling.
I think. Sorry,
but
I think it's something that we grew up in the era of the Attitude Era, and after the New Generation era, and we liked storylines. We didn't like it to be too much. We wanted to have reasons for why the matches were happening, and remember at times we'd have people over the location,
right.
And we'd be trying to figure out
my living room,
your living room, yeah, and we'd be trying to figure out what's going to happen here, who can't be in here, and we'd have to change a storyline on the fly, and there was a continuation from pay-per-view to pay-per-view that was consistent. It made it more than just, again, people being silly.
I remember we were talking for a while about there being dual bot too, because a lot of times we do something in the NWF, and then a few weeks later it happened on WWF at the time. And we were convinced that it was Dualbot over there filming and sending them to Vince.
Yeah, because before the Invasion storyline, and I'm fully aware that I ripped off the NWO, but we already had the T-shirts made, so it was a lot easier. We just bought them in the store.
We were in high school. We had no money.
Right, no money. But the idea of anti-authority figure, but not like Sting, who represented WCW, but an Austin versus the NWO was very appealing to me. And of course, I guess it was a natural that they would eventually get there anyway once they bought WCW. But still, like that was a big part of the idea is that Austin versus the NWO was like for me was a much better feud. Sting versus NWO. I'm not trying to speak ill of your boy.
Fight you.
I'm just saying. I thought Austin versus the NWO was just a much more natural fit. Okay, so inspirations. Well, and now we know about his finisher. Let's go to and we know about Sean's finisher. Lou, what was yours?
My first finisher was supposed to be a thing called Nightfall. Which
I
thought was so cool. I'm like, I'm gonna pick the guy in my arm over here. I'm gonna jump up and land. It was a DDT.
Bobby Roode's DDT.
Yeah, that's all it was a DDT. And then I remember I did it to Sean in our hardcore match where I hit his head against a briefcase.
Yeah.
And he got up.
I'm gonna jump in there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keeping in mind this was high school, I had like a zit on my forehead. And when he did the DDT, like grinded my face into the carpet.
So I was stiff as heck back then.
And so
don't worry, we'll talk about that too.
I just popped up, kicked him in the stomach, hit him with his own finisher, and pinned him. It was awesome.
That was my first match.
And then he changed.
But you use that blood like in true gigging fashion. You made sure.
Except when we're talking about color, it's like oh, there it is.
But hey, you hard weight, all right?
Yeah. It's true, just like Brock.
So I changed my finisher to a thing called Whiplash, which was basically what I call a Samoan driver. So pick the guy up over your shoulders, you kind of spin him around and drop him down, and I was able to, I guess,
on their back,
on their back, or I could get it.
Didn't you have the Dominator in between?
The Dominator,
that was for like a week.
I was going to do that because I wanted something. I was stronger upper body and lower my legs, so I can pick somebody up.
Did we even call it anything, or was it just the Dominator?
No, it was just Lou throwing somebody face down on the floor. And they land on their feet usually because we didn't want to hurt anybody.
Gotcha. Yeah. But the name was called for the finisher
was the Whiplash, and that was what I thought it was very creative. And then
Lash LaRue.
Lash LaRue comes along. I remember when I created my character Rage in one of the wrestling games. He had the DDT and
Right.
and Whiplash as a finisher. I'm like, it's a sign. I should have gone to professional wrestling rather than what I'm doing now.
I don't know if that's Well, for the record, it's kind of funny that two people here are teachers, and one has a child, and it's very odd to think that this was where we ended up.
We survived.
Yeah, or that they allowed people like us to breed.
They didn't see the
Or at least
tapes.
one
That's
of
why.
us.
They didn't see the tapes. That's why.
I joke about that all the time. that it would be funny. Everyone's relationships drastically changing if their significant others knew what they were like in high school,
Yeah, that's why I won't ever let my wife see them.
or your child.
No, that's out.
If you had a son, though, I think there's a shot.
Maybe.
Not
I don't
like
know.
anytime.
Certainly not the early NWF. Maybe once we had the 3 spots and the finish worked
And
out.
there you go. Now let's bring that up because I thought that was pretty. I think that's something that I think was actually pretty cool because if you guys remember, we eventually evolved from just the 3 spots because 3 spots, that was the bulk of, and then we're talking about a couple of years we did this, and the fact that teenagers actually did anything for a couple of years is a testament to how dedicated or how we were losers. I don't know.
Oh no, we had to get rid of our creative flow. That's
Yeah,
great.
but we evolved from there. The 3 spots was the most, for the vast majority of how we figured things out. Something in the beginning, something in the middle, and the finish. But do you remember towards the end we also came up with something else?
No.
We started doing where we started thinking of the chains because when me and you wanted to because me and Sean
I
wrestled
got
each
you.
other a lot.
That's
Like
true.
we were the most. We probably had the most matches. Our character
absolutely.
versus our character probably.
Yeah, character versus character, and overall
people
too,
versus people,
because
too.
you were 100 characters.
Yeah, we'll
get
get to
those
that,
later,
and we'll
yeah.
get to that. So the thing about it was, we wanted to make them bigger and better, and then me and Sean came up with this idea that the first spot we're going to do was going to be like a chain of 3 moves, chaining 3 moves together, and then the middle we were going to do 5, and then 7, and then the finish was going to go into 7 chains, and we kind of like had this method of how many moves we were going to chain together, and that. We found out, or at least I read somewhere, that Lance Storm actually does stuff like that too. I was like, "Whoa!" We actually stumbled on this, a method similar to what Lance Storm employs. So that was like, pat ourselves on the back for that one.
I also thought our ongoing storytelling was pretty interesting too, because this is going to sound weird because we didn't actually have fans in the audience.
Nope.
But it kind of felt like we went where it organically needed to go. Like we started off with an idea that, I was going to be the bad guy and I was going to be, this goes back to even before we had the name NWF, but I was going to come in with another faction and feud with Dave, who was kind of the good guy. And then they never showed, so it was just we evolved from there. And so I just kind of did a double turn on Dave that we'd never told him we were going to do.
Oh no, they did not.
And from there, though, it just gradually, next thing you know, I'm the baby face and he's the heel, but we never planned that out. It just kind of went that way naturally, and it felt right watching it too.
Absolutely. So, all right. So you were just talking about Lou. We were going to bring up the multitude of characters.
Well, again, Dave being the showman that he is, I guess you can put it the best way. Dave was how many characters? 74?
Seven total.
Yes.
To correlate with the fact that this was high school, tons of people say, no, I'm totally down. I'm going to do it. Yeah, I love wrestling.
And back in the day, we couldn't drive yet. Also,
that's right.
Remember, my parents would drive me there. Well, Lou, what are you doing? I'm going to watch a pay-per-view with Dave and my friends.
3 in the afternoon?
Yeah, you're not going to wrestle? No, of course not. We're not going to come home. My
That's
arm.
dangerous.
Yeah, I can't move my arm.
Which it is.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Don't do it. See,
Right.
don't do it.
Right, but people would flake on us all the time. Like our first Royal Rumble was going to happen on Columbus Day.
Columbus Rumble.
Columbus Rumble was the name of the pay-per-view because all of us had off that day.
Yep.
And while a whole army of kids said they were going to do it, 4 of us showed up. Like you weren't even there Sean wasn't even there for our first one because I think you had a paper due or you got grounded or something.
Was I even in it yet?
You were in it, but you didn't make the first one because you got in trouble or something.
That's possible.
Yeah,
I got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, well.
Did I bring Stitch at that point or no?
No, it was
That was-
me, you, and
The Enforcer.
the
Stitch.
Enforcer, and
Took the biggest bump.
LL Crippler.
Yes.
Another very 90s name, LL Crippler.
I love that name, actually.
That was smooth.
I'm like,
Is
what's
it-
the LL?
Yeah, because he wanted to be called the Crippler, and I said that was a ripoff of Chris Benoit, so we stuck the LL from Ladies Love, LL Cool J in there to, made it different. Anyway.
No trademark infringement whatsoever.
No, you just combine 2 things and it's fine. That's creativity.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the fight for the fact that there was only 4 people in this Rumble, we need to make up a bunch of other people. And also, we couldn't just keep wrestling each other all the time, so we created jobbers. And the jobbers would just be guys with masks. And the guys with the masks were usually me. Unless I was going against them, then all of a sudden somebody else had to wear a mask. So
Yeah, all of a sudden the body type of one of the luchadors just completely changed.
Remember we had True Luchador.
Yep.
We had Glazer,
Nacho Sombrero.
Nacho Sombrero. Who else do we have?
Which
El Serpente.
So that was me.
That was his. Lou had a side character.
I wore a hockey
Don't
mask
worry.
and a wig that kept falling off because I was trying to be the Italian jobber. And
He was like, but you were like Santino. Eventually,
Santino
Santino Morel, like, really,
rip me off. They do it all the time.
it was really odd.
And then I remember the best one was Clump.
Yes.
And I know that you guys
Clump
tried
was
to give Clump a push. That was eventually one of
That
our
was,
jobbers.
that was an accidental push.
I will
remember?
definitely want to talk about Clump, but we're going to save that
Sorry,
towards
yeah.
later because I think that's our biggest spot that's ever.
I actually want to jump in real
Sure, go
quick
for it.
on Nacho Sombrero, though, just in case
Yes.
anyone's
Yeah.
wondering where that insane name came from. There was a Simpsons episode where Homer was wearing a nacho hat that had cheese in it, and it was a Nacho Sombrero, and we just needed a name for a luchador, and I was like, well, why not Nacho Sombrero? And Dave's like, I'm sold.
Yep, anything Simpsons related
It's
that doesn't take much for me.
The other great luchador name I liked was Master Glazier.
Yeah.
That was probably...
He had a karate gi and a hockey mask. We had the Jason, not even like real hockey mask, like the Jason,
Yeah, the Jason
Halloween
one. Halloween
ones.
one, the glow in the dark.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, and we both had one
Yes.
too.
I remember
I had one too, actually.
I painted mine gold for Serpente.
Everyone.
That was my thing.
Yeah, and then the
Then
gold roll, it
fell
rubbed
right
off.
off. Yeah, like the next day.
But yeah, Glacier eventually became the super jobber of NWF, where he couldn't hit anything right. And on his own Titantron, there's one of my favorite spots.
He
Yeah.
eliminated himself from the Rumble. Was that him?
Wait, what's
Who
that?
eliminated himself from the Rumble? Who was it? One of them jumped in the ring, just jumped right back out. Was that Glazer?
That was Glacier, and then I think they ripped that off from us eventually
did,
too.
yeah.
One of my favorite spots is his finisher, and since he was the super jobber, he was never going to hit it, was the crane kick from the Karate Kid. The real Karate Kid, not the Jaden Smith one. And so there was one match where I was going against Sean, and Sean whiffs it. He just snaps his fingers like, oh, shucks. And that was his whole thing, where he just could not get over. He couldn't get anything done right.
That was right on his Titantron. That
Yep.
was,
All his,
every
his
time you
was,
saw him.
his was a blooper reel. His Mitcheltron, not Titantron. His Mitcheltron was just a blooper reel, and everyone else was like a highlight reel.
What was funny about Glazier's character, though, is like he was the opposite of my character, because my character was undefeated, and we had this whole storyline that was building up, and Glazier ended up being like couldn't win a match, and there was really no storyline. Although Dave had some ideas for the future, which were amazing, that we never got to. But in his first match, before we actually decided he was going to be the super jobber, was against me, the undefeated guy, and it was easily his most competitive match that he ever had. It'd be like, even though I'm not a fan of him, but like if let's say the Brooklyn Brawler went against Goldberg during Goldberg's push and took him to a 20-minute match. Like, it didn't make any sense.
He degraded. That match took a toll on him, and he just got worse. But
Well, you can make the argument that it was hitting his head on
Yes.
that reverse DDT that turned him into the job.
yes, that was who actually. That was actually who took it. Was Glazier.
This is the stories keep evolving. This is how it works.
But I just remembered. Do you remember the inspiration for Glacier?
I think I do.
I assumed it was the back of his.
No,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was Glacier
because
from-
Your old friend,
exactly
yeah, your
because
old-
we hated Glacier in WCW,
Oh, yeah.
and we thought he was so bad. We just wanted to like blast him as much as he was just this pure parody, and we started every match with like some sort of like martial arts weapon demonstration or something, just like Glacier, and then so he would just it would be long drawn out. Someone would flip the lights on and off. That was the closest we had to like a strobe effect, and.
Well, you had the disco globe.
Yes,
didn't
but
you?
yeah,
That was
I eventually got that. Yes,
Oh,
but that was
okay.
for the other luchadors, and so it would just go on, and then someone would come in and just drop him. I think one time he got dropped during it, and that would just be the match because we were just so aggravated at the fact that Glacier existed. We just had to skewer him. At the time, he was like the pinnacle of like crap wrestling. Some would argue he still is.
There's got to be. No, there's definitely worse, actually.
Yeah. But that's a topic for. That's a topic for.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole we could definitely.
Yeah, that's definitely something that could go on way too long. All right, so something else we were going to talk about. All the masks were actually made out of like old T-shirts. They weren't like real masks. They were just the sleeves
That you
sewn
sewn
up.
up,
Yeah, just sewn up at the
I
top.
thought they were actually.
For what they were.
They were
Yeah.
creative.
Right there with our cardboard
Well,
belts that you
It's like
started.
when you came out as Hollywood and you would rip off your shirt, which was actually a black garbage bag.
That's right.
That was That was he didn't want to rip a real shirt. He's like,
It was not that. I just couldn't afford to keep buying
Oh, yeah,
new
good
shirts.
point, fair point.
Once again, high school, no money.
Yeah.
Make do.
But,
Nobody could tell. It was fine.
Well, no one could tell because no one was watching.
Exactly. So
that
nobody
was-
could tell.
That was the other.
Right.
That was the other big
Speak
key.
the truth.
All right, so let's move into. I want to talk about some of everybody's favorite moments. So, Duel, what are some of your favorite moments, or your favorite match? Let's say.
Well, that would definitely be November Rain, because just some backstory on that. You had the Columbus Rumble, and then you said, "Well, what are we going to do for November?" And I said, November Rain, like the song Guns N' Roses. We all love Guns N' Roses in our group here. So.
But we spelled it different.
That's
Right,
true.
I was going to get to that. So you said, "No, that just sounds stupid. November Rain, like, what's the big deal?" And I said, "So we're all comic book geeks. So back when Superman died in the '90s, they had
He
a story.
died?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Yeah, newsflash.
Sorry.
So
He's dying in the box office too.
Oh,
so there's
Too
a
soon.
he's right there.
Yeah.
Continue. Yeah. Continue.
So I said, well, there was that story arc when Superman came back to life. Before they brought him back, it was Reign of the Superman, or the Supermen, and it was REIGN. So I said, do that. And he's like, yeah, that actually works. So, and the main event of that pay-per-view was me and Sean and Lou in a triple threat match. And
For the title?
For the title, yeah, for the
Specify
world
its title
title.
match.
And so my favorite video package of all time was for that. I mean, the editing on that was great. I mean, it's one of my favorite songs, and it's like the build-up towards the end of the song.
Yeah.
So it was just perfect.
Yeah.
And he had little shots of, like, you know, Lou and Sean and me, like, doing our finishers. And it was I thought it was the best.
Yeah, editing
Video
then was me
package.
recording, taking the camcorder up to the screen, recording it in sequence. And then at the end, when the logo November Rain, which is on my computer that I'm pointing the camera at, I take a spray bottle and I spray water at it so it starts raining.
Yeah.
It was
So
awesome.
Special
Amazing.
effects. Practical effect. That's
Yeah.
what it
My
was.
favorite video package of all time. Any federation.
Well, thank you.
Seriously. No, see, you know it.
I actually
I
just-
never stopped talking
I just started
about
getting
that.
pretty pumped just hearing you describe
Right?
it. I'm like, dun, 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 dun.
So, well, thank you. Sean, your favorite match?
Favorite match is easy. That's Hollywood's retirement match, in quotes. I thought the story building up to it was awesome. Like, we had been against each other, but in retirement, it was almost like wanted to go out with like the respect of your peers and putting aside differences to just like lay it all on the line. And we actually used the double count out finish, both men down for the 10 count, which you just never really see.
Yeah,
done,
and it was
so-
a big reason why we wanted to do is because we
Yeah.
want finishes that we just don't see. Like, why don't people do it?
I thought like the story was great. It was probably our best match that we ever put on together. So that's an easy number one. I could go down a list of a couple others, like not a match but a moment, giving Jim Mitchell the Mexican title. That was pretty awesome, and it was the Mexican title and a bottle of scotch, I believe.
Yeah, for his birthday.
Yeah. So, just it could go on, but that's definitely my favorite. match.
The owner, Jim Mitchell, was also me.
With a mustache.
With a mustache and
Slick
glass-
back hair.
and those 70s, 80 aviator glasses and baby powder in my hair to make it gray.
Yeah, until you eventually stop doing the baby powder.
Yeah.
You're like, ah, screw it.
Yeah,
To save time between character changes.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
It's like doing a stage production.
Lou, your favorite match?
I don't even know. I mean, I feel like I like the one I mentioned earlier before we started shooting this was when I tried doing my finisher through the table, so to speak. To
Yeah,
you.
I was gonna say I thought that was yours.
Yeah, I loved it because it wasn't silly. I mean, it was. We had spots we tried to work through and everything.
Yeah.
I know the one spot you and I always tried doing was laying the smack down. That was our favorite thing to do because I was able to stand like
Put your arms out.
but stand this way for like. You know,
I could still do that, by the way.
I bet you could like 5 seconds, but like this.
But I don't need the arms out. I could just do it.
Oh
now.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, smooth. All right.
I did it not that long ago. Once again, do not do this
Yeah,
at
do not
home.
do it- yeah, or any place else for that matter, or at your friend's home.
Do not.
Just
And I just like the fact that nice little flow to it. I don't even know the outcome of the match. For me, it was I just really enjoyed being able to do certain things. It's kind of like that, hey, I get to be a little physical without really hurting somebody, and it was fun. It was showmanship. I remember the table we tried putting up, though, was...
oh, yeah, we'll get to we'll get to that momentarily.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the thing about the Lane to SmackDown from the, as it was named in the video game, the Tornado DDT, the way I did it was my feet don't land. Because, like, The Rock or the way Shane McMahon does it, they'll flip around, they'll land on their feet, and then they'll do a DDT. I just go around and I don't land into it. And I always thought that looked better.
And that was the one spot I enjoyed. I love that spot. And my favorite spot I ever took, I don't know if we're going to get this later on, was when I took the stunner on the chair.
Yeah.
That was the only time I sold something very well, I think, in my entire career of backyard wrestling.
There was another time you sold very well, but you weren't Rage. You were
Serpente.
or True Luchador.
Okay.
Well, yeah. I never talked about my finishes. So, as Sean pointed out, I was doing the Texas Cloverleaf or the Sunset Strip, but I also did the stunner as being the Austin guy that I was.
And the rock bottom sometimes too, and the elbow.
Oh, the People's Elbow. I did that too.
Yeah, that wasn't really a finish though. That was just something.
That was just setup stuff.
Yeah.
He also did a super kick as an
That's
FU
true, too.
to the DB.
Well, I also started feeling a lot better about it once Lance Storm was doing it too. So I was like, all right, I can get away with this. So, but I did the stunner, and one of the coolest innovations I did, which I'm surprised no one's ripped off yet, was doing the stunner on the chair, like Lou's bringing up.
Yeah.
Where the person would be sitting their face would be over the brim of the chair, and then I would stun them onto it, so the brim of the chair would go into the guy's throat. And so I thought that was a cool thing, and no one's ever seen it.
And no one should ever do it at
Ever,
home.
No one ever should.
Because there's a lot that can go wrong on that one.
But out of all the things that we've been ripped off by, I cannot believe no one's come up with that yet.
That's true.
It seems just so, and if they have, I just haven't seen it. So as far as I know, that's...
And now it's going to happen 2 weeks from now on Raw. You know,
it's been 20 years, but let it be known. You heard it here first. So that match, I was actually going to say, that was a false count anywhere match between me and you. It was Hollywood versus Rage, and I really did like that match. I thought it was a good one too. And bringing up the table or our table. So one day, I don't even remember how.
We went to a construction, a Home Depot.
But we could drive then.
We could drive then. It was later. We could drive.
Yeah, I think this was senior year. Where we had cars.
And I think I had my old car, and we're trying to find something to make a table. And we're walking through Home Depot, and we're like, hey, do you know a place I can find like a flake board or something like that, or
plywood,
particle board? We want like a break very easily.
Plywood.
I think we bought like a little piece of chain too for some reason. I don't know why, or it could be totally.
Yeah,
wrong
we
with.
did buy chain.
I don't know what we used it for, if anything.
Cool.
Because chain was cool.
Oh yeah,
right, yeah, of course.
Spawn was big.
Neo, chain, leather jackets. We had it going, and we had to set up this table, but we didn't have any legs for the table. So our brilliant idea was to
two chairs.
Chairs on board.
And I remember I gave Dave my finisher through the table. And as I did my whiplash, I picked him up, I threw him down, I tried to keep him safe, and rather than the table, I
bounced off.
It bounced off, and then I'm like, oh crap! And then
basically made the same face that Orton made when he threw one of the Singh brothers.
And then I'm like, oh, that was bad. Then the chair falls out. I'm like, oh, that's even worse. Like it was just. Okay, that's. That
was a great match.
It was a great match. It was one of my favorite.
It's one of mine too.
Was that one of the IC title or something, or just?
Yeah,
because?
it was just we were just going at it. It wasn't even for him.
Yeah.
All the way from the living room to the bathroom to the basement, the locker room, bathroom, should I say, to the basement and back up again. And
did we go outside? I think.
Probably.
Yeah, we ended up outside.
Yeah, we did go outside.
We ended up outside.
Recycling.
I don't think there's a ladder. Was there a ladder for that?
I don't think
there was a ladder for a different.
That was a different match, and that was a.
The ladder, but that does remind me. Lou, do you have any memories of the ladder?
Not really. Brain damage. No, all I remember was with the with the one ladder. Oh my god. Climbing up the ladder and trying to climb the ladder match, which of course was in Dave's living room. And what did we hang from the
belt?
What was it, the belt?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a stick.
Yeah, but
or
what was it hung to?
The skylight, the string, the string to pull the skylight.
Oh my god! And we were trying to climb up there. I go up there and I go to grab it and just.
Is that also the match where he hurt his leg?
Mm-hmm. Yes, giving me the power, giving me his finisher.
The world's worst pedigree.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a pedigree. It was a power bomb.
It was, it was supposed to be anyway. tombstone, but we're being high school kids in the 90s, he was like, oh, you just got to face the other direction.
Yes, and he fell and he landed with my shoulder on his knee, and
Yeah.
you see him just grab his knee afterwards, and I was like,
That's right.
that wasn't my fault that time. But yeah, I broke your ladder. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the ladder caved out, and there is a match out there where there was only one ladder and it got destroyed. So once again, we were ripped off as well.
Told it's the saddest match ever.
The saddest match.
Well, there
ever.
was one match where there was a ladder there, and I think it was.
We had to get a new ladder.
Well, there's a taller one. It's an 8-foot ladder.
Right.
And
yeah, that's also 8 feet. Yeah.
Or wherever it was, and you were staring. I don't know if it was you or
Yeah.
It was me.
and the madness.
You as a luchador.
No, it was you. Two of you. Yeah, two of you
That's
and the
right.
madness.
Yeah.
And when I look down, see his neck like on the chair. And
Again,
I'm like,
because the
this
chair
isn't
is the
good.
table still.
Like I can't jump off, and so I don't know what to do, and the madness
Shakes you.
runs up and just started shaking the ladder.
Thank you for saving my life there,
I
Sean.
jumped down and booked after him, and he just ran like hell.
I laid
Yeah,
there.
there were a lot of parts of my house that got destroyed in the process, which was part of us having to stop or at least take hiatuses and breaks from it.
Yeah,
That was your couch.
Yep, my couch broke.
that
That wasn't
Titan, I believe.
Yeah.
On reviewing the footage, I think it was you.
Yeah?
Yeah, I saw you jumping straight on it,
Oh.
and he never came near it.
Oh no. Okay.
So yeah, my house got destroyed pretty badly. My parents were not happy about that. As I don't blame them. The most dangerous spot, most scared you ever were, Sean? Or if you had any danger spot or anything, because you were bringing up the, not only.
Oh, looking down and realizing like,
Yeah.
this isn't
kill.
this is one of those things that we don't do. I'd say, I mean, I'm sure you want to get to it later. so
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
wanna go
Oh,
into
no,
it,
no,
but
yeah, that'll happen.
There was a fire spot, a one-time fire spot that was a little nerve-wracking when we realized that it may have gotten a little out of our control.
Yeah, Lou, what was yours?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was at that moment or anytime I went up for some sort of like a power bomb or something like that, because I was always scared of me just landing too stiffly or landing on the wrong spot. When we tried doing our own thing, so to speak, I know we took bumps on wood chips.
I got a concussion from him doing
That's yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
That'll learn you a trend, teacher.
that was, and it wasn't even a wrestling move. It was like I went to like pick him up from a move, and he just like popped
Snapped
up.
up. Yeah.
Oh.
Just his head just snapped me right here in the temple.
Yeah.
And I had a headache for a bit, but then I remember I went to your house to watch a pay-per-view that night. I think it was WCW Mayhem.
Or he didn't go
You
down.
remember enough.
But I just didn't feel well, and I went home and I just got so sick, and I was like, that son of a bitch concussed me. Got concussed.
Duel, your most dangerous spot or most feared spot or anything
Well,
like that.
it was definitely your fire spot with Sean, but
Well, I mean, something
what
that you
that
were-
was I was involved with was when I power bombed you through the table, and I was nervous for you. You know,
Yeah, we
it
got
was
use
like
out of that piece of board.
Yeah.
That'll
Yes.
teach that.
But that
evil
was
table
it.
to not break.
It was actually rather
How many times
cost-efficient
did it
in
not break
retrospect.
before I put you through it, and it actually broke that time? But
Right.
who
That was a
knows?
good match too, I think, right?
Yeah,
That was probably your best match, I think.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have very
And
many good
I
ones
guess this
anyway. So
most dangerous spot and who that was against. I think we can collaborate this because I think now it's time to bring up Mr. Clump. Yet another luchador, Clump. So he was a Mick Foley, Mankind kind of Cactus Jackie kind of character, and he. He was a yellow plaid luchador. It was from a yellow plaid shirt. and he was
escaped from a carnival sideshow, right?
right, and the backstory that no one cared about, but it came from the fact that I found out that pro wrestling had a lot to do with carnivals and circuses. So I thought it'd be kind of cool, the idea to get this guy be like a sideshow freak kind of character, and make that almost. I guess the oddities were a bit of a, bit there too. But that's where he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be so messed up and everything like that. And this guy, we put through the ringer. He was the suicide king, Clump, because he had no regard for his own well-being, which I guess I kind of don't either.
Yeah, well, that's why you played him.
Right. So he went through the dumbest stuff, and we, as we alluded to earlier, that we eventually felt bad for him. We wanted to give him a push because we just tormented him. I got one of his stupid props was a tiki glass, which accidentally got broken over my head. For real, legitimately.
Who did that?
The enforcer did that.
Oh, okay.
He didn't do it on purpose. I leaned into it, and it just shattered right in my face.
Oh, Lord.
And I remember thinking, oh, when you see things like glass and stuff shatter, you're like, oh, that's no big deal. It breaks. No, that hurts more than you think it would.
Clumpy got I played Clump in one
Yes.
match, and I got hurt, of course, as I'm playing Clump in that match, because I did a diving headbutt, but like an idiot, instead of doing like the straight down, like a stiffer way of taking the fall, I did almost like a Scotty Too Hottie worm in midair, and just like snapped my neck back, and I ran with it and got the cover, but then I was lumped up after that.
Lump from clump.
And so the big one, the one that, because this got me a standing ovation in the mall the next day. Yeah.
Because I told everyone.
I kind of thought he would not tell everyone, but no, he went out of his way to tell everyone. However, I remember someone else who was in our federation that wound up lying to my prom date, the girl I was asking to prom. So just to cover for me too. He said I accidentally hurt myself cooking. He goes, there you go. So I don't think she knew. But,
No, she does.
Oh, she doesn't. Yeah, if my probably is watching this, I'll be very
I was
surprised.
going to say, as a fan of the show.
Yeah.
Clearly.
As a girl that I still talk to, yeah. But so the fire spot. This was my genius idea, but
I wasn't doing it at this point, by the way.
oh, that's right.
I was.
You were the first and only person to be fired.
Yeah, I was fired, and well,
You were officially fired?
Yes,
thought
he
we
was.
I thought we were kidding.
No, I was serious.
he's always serious. He's always angry at me about
I
something.
don't remember why.
I don't remember why either. It was
Probably-
Was it
creative
because he
control.
was too stiff at times?
No.
Possibly, but we'll
No,
go
sorry.
back to
Oh,
that in a second. So, all right. So the clump thing. What happened was he got set on fire. It was my genius idea because I said, hairspray, it lights up and it just goes out real quick. As soon as the alcohol burns off, it's fine. And hairspray, there's going to be a lot of kids who don't know what hairspray is, but yeah. And so
Stop making it.
people use gel now, man.
So did I. Never mind. Okay, sorry.
So I had a little sleeve thing that I wore, a little armband thing that I wore, and that got soaked with the hairspray and actually got set on fire too. So my logic was sound. Now Sean didn't want to do it.
No. It didn't feel like a good idea.
I said, "Shut up, do it. It's my hand." And so it set off. So my hand, the alcohol on the hairspray did burn out, but my sleeve, the armband thing, still caught on fire, and that was on fire for like 10 seconds.
Wasn't there a bucket of water
Yep.
right next to you just in case that happened?
See, that was our genius. We had a bucket of water right next to us because for safety. But seeing
Safety
how,
first.
yeah, but I was on fire, so I didn't think about it.
And like definitely like broke character hard, and because I'm cracking up at him as I'm watching him start off staring at his hand and
It's flailing.
flailing his arm around and like almost doing like stop,
I was
drop, and roll.
stop, drop, and roll. That was my attempt. Yeah.
Yep.
Get over your
And
arm.
then I just like poked him with this wiffle ball bat that I was using in the match. I'm like pointing at the water. And then, like, I assume we're done, but, like, the show must go on.
Yep.
It was like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
We're
said-
finishing this.
Yeah, I said I didn't get set on fire to not finish this match, so I told him we're finishing this match.
It comes into school the next day in psychology class. I sit down, this bandage in your hand. I'm like, what happened? Nothing. Like, are you sure? Nothing.
So, yes.
Yeah, that was the end of that.
So yeah, but we went to the mall for lunch and got a standing ovation.
Yep.
Impressive.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so all right.
But don't.
Don't do
Don't
this
do this
at
at
home. I
home.
can't stand. And yes, I do have scars on my right hand. Does not, my thumb looks differently on both hands. So I still have that now. So you see, accidents happen.
I'd say other common injuries was a whole lot of shots to the groin.
Oh
It
yeah.
just happened all the time.
Oh yeah. It always made me wonder: do wrestlers wear cups?
Mm.
Just because, we got hit in the nuts all the time, and it sucked.
Almost, and always
And
an
we were
accident.
trying not to.
Correct.
Yeah. This is what happens when you put adolescent males next to each
There was
other.
one time I was doing a spin kick. I remember. I think it was to you.
Yeah, it was.
There, didn't get a full-on connection, but a sweeping, grazing blow. But that was enough.
Yep.
To
Yeah, it
just-
took a second, and I was like, nope.
Oh, man.
But I remember you guys, and it was just funny watching this guy get a push, and then that happened, the fire.
Well, no, it happened because of that. Because
Oh, yeah.
how do we set this guy on fire and not do anything about it? And especially since Scorpion set him on fire,
Well, I got the
Who's the
sense
main
he was
event?
always going to get somewhat of a push. Like one thing.
he was always our favorite.
Like our quote unquote luchadors. While some of them were jobbers, like a lot of them also just kind of rounded out the mid card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'd say you and the Enforcer were also in the the mid card, and
Yeah,
you
we're
and
like-
I were at the top of the
We're like
card.
the IC guys, something
Yeah.
like that, and then it was. But that was the other problem, I guess you could say, was because there are only so many viable characters and so many repeat characters. It became, well, who gets a belt and who gives it to, it was
Yeah.
one of those deals. And I think we wanted also to kind of expand too, but it was I don't know, you don't want to bring too many into the craziness because you don't.
Right.
It loses what it is.
I know it sounds silly, and I know that, again, don't try it at home ever. It is foolish to do. But we did take each other's safety above almost everything else, I feel like. As well,
Yeah,
as
I
high on
told
top.
him
We
not to
did.
light him on fire.
Well, on top, I tried not. Yeah, okay.
No, you
sorry.
were stiff, but you didn't.
I would never hurt
actively
somebody.
Go out of your way to
Correct.
cause any.
Yeah.
Only a couple of times. So.
Yeah, he was the Seamus of the crew. At least that's the best way I'll put it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
My biggest bump was the fire thing. Did anybody else have any injuries they specifically remember?
Well, it's not an injury, but when I gave Stitch the first ever
my
suplex,
God.
and
Oh yeah, but tell them why that happened. Tell us what happened and why.
it's got to be another one
Oh,
of
you
those
don't remember?
instances where he accidentally hit
With
me
the bat-
for
with the
real.
bat-
All right, yeah, that's what. No, that's what. So we had our wiffle ball bet, and you told him to hit. He was going to turn on you. That was his big debut.
Oh, that's right.
And he told him to hit him, and he gave like the limpest, weakest, like little tap. And so Sean was mad that he ruined the spot, so we had to redo it. And then he cracked. So to make up for it, he cracked him right in the back of the head, hard, like really hard. And Sean was mad.
And gave him the first.
Take it away, Sean.
So yeah, then I just grabbed him and suplexed him. I never told him I was going to suplex him. I just essentially grabbed him and flung him over.
And
was that the only
first ever? No,
That was- no,
first
no,
ever
you took-
suplex.
yeah.
I suplexed him one
Yeah.
time. I picked him up for this, and he's here like. And you thought
right.
And you thought I broke him.
Yeah, you remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah. So he goes for the suplex, and he grabbed me by the
Belt
belt. What do you call it? The
Belt
belt
loop,
loop.
yeah.
Yeah, on the jeans. And when he lifted me up, he's got his finger on the belt loop, so he just ripped it right. It just ripped
But
right
Lou
off.
thought he killed you.
Yeah, he.
I'm like, ooh.
Why would you
Yeah.
grab the belt
Yeah,
loop?
in midair, he just hears that, and he thought he killed him. And then Duel just gets a fine.
I was actually surprised that you took that suplex.
Seriously, because my concern was always my
a
back.
problem. back
Yeah,
then.
I had two herniated discs.
I was annoyed with you because there was a spot where I won the world title from you. I think it was where I put you in the deathlock. But this was a spot right from Raven and Jericho, where you were supposed to go for the beer can DDT, and I just pull your legs out and then put you in the deathlock, and you pass out. And I was so excited for the spot because I love that spot. And I was like, dude, just flat back it. You're going to be fine. And you were like, I don't know, I'm worried. And I'm like, it's fine, dude. Just flat back. You're going to be cool. And then you just flop to the side like a dead fish and just start twitching. And I'm like, God, completely ruined my spot. I was like, I should crank this.
Was there-
You were rough at taking spots, Duel.
Was there any?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I think we're bringing. But any spots you guys wanted to do but couldn't? I know there's one that you and I had worked on at some
Yeah,
point,
I
and
don't
it was.
remember it in detail.
I do,
anymore.
sadly.
Of
Of
course
course
you
I do. 'cause I
Nice.
know
You
my-
probably pull out a piece of paper where you've drawn it out.
right here.
He's been carrying around in his wallet. It's laminated.
It's been sitting there the whole time. No, so I remember it was supposed to be the end to one of our matches. Long story short was it was going to end with me putting him into my finisher and him slipping down and then giving me a death drop out of it, and that was like what I want. But it's going to be a dragon sleeper and all these different
Yeah,
things in there.
it was like his Mr. Holland's opus.
Yeah, it really was, because it was like the
And-
perfect spot to end a competitive match. That we all like false endings, and also we hate the fact, I think I do at least, that finishers mean nothing anymore.
Right.
And
Yeah.
back then, finishers actually meant something. So
Oh,
you didn't,
yeah.
and so our thing was, how do you avoid the finisher, rather than how do you get up from the finisher? Because getting up from the finisher was only reserved for a big match, or
Right.
if Hollywood's going against Rage or something like that, because you should be able to survive my finisher.
That
'cause
wasn't a
you're-
big match.
Says you.
Just kidding.
Can I leave yet? No.
So, but I remember because you guys came up with your, opus. I was so angry that I went to do it. I'm like, well, that's it. We're gonna come up with one. It's gonna be better. I remember chunks of it. I don't remember all of it, but I do remember same thing. I wanted to do the same
Yeah.
thing.
What did we end up doing?
We never did it.
Yeah,
Like
the-
we stopped.
Yeah,
we stopped doing
we never
it.
ended up
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
ours either.
So
Just had
we
it.
both have a perfect chain out
we
there.
did them in the mall. I remember that, like at the
where
store
worked.
that I worked at. We
Yeah.
just kept like in the lobby.
Yeah, and we did it at
just
the
doing
pool hall we worked at.
Yeah.
Like me and him did it. I think that's where we hammered out. But nothing ever came of it. But I do want to talk about that. So when it came to now, I understand that I can't stress enough. Don't do it at home, and I can't stress enough that we weren't actually professionals. But I don't know? If it did, change how you perceive actual wrestling by doing this?
Sorry about someone else. I talked a lot so far.
I don't know.
Like, no, it didn't.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I could actually answer that, but I will say just the experience of doing it was great. When you guys approached me to do it, like, you want to be in our, like, kind of backyard fake wrestling thing, it's like, hell yeah, I love wrestling. Why not? It'd be so much fun. But, I mean, I will say this. I mean, it raised my expectations of what guys that are professionals and getting paid millions of dollars to do, and they're not doing it. And it's like, it just makes you disappointed at times with what you're actually seeing on TV. And, and I know it's a lot of political stuff too. It comes from the top and what, the owner or the bookers tell you what you can and can't do. But, it changes.
Raise your expectations.
Yeah,
That's fair
it raised
enough.
Yeah,
Lou?
And I'm on the same boat with him, but expectations for storylines, I think, too. Because, again, we were all creative in different ways. I think we were in creative writing class, we were in journalism class, we were in psychology. Like, we were mostly intelligent people, I think.
I was in journalism class. I completely forgot about that.
I have a good memory sometimes.
I completely forgot, and I teach broadcasting now. You think I'd remember that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a bump. It was a bump from the DDT. Must have been the... but I think when you see a storyline going one way and then totally veering off track in wrestling, which kind of is what turned me off from watching wrestling for that big chunk of time.
Yeah.
I grew up with the Attitude Era, and then it got to that whatever you call it, what's it
Ruthless
called?
Aggression
Ruthless
era.
Aggression era, where I kind of lost interest because it was too much of an opera, but
I
not.
slept with her, and then you slept with her.
Yeah, it was a soap opera.
This is wrestling.
I mean, and I used to love I used to love the soap opera aspect of wrestling until it got too silly. It got a little bit too juvenile in certain respects.
Once the match itself stopped mattering as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I stopped caring once I saw the big names start to leave WWE because maybe they wanted more creativity or something like that, or wanted a little whatever. And I also just kind of got or more money. And I also got kind of bored with the lack of competition in wrestling for that period of time after the failed invasion angle and all those things.
Yeah, Sean, how did do wrestling yourself, air quote, how did that change your perception of wrestling?
It's hard to say because I always took it very seriously. Like, even not just NWF, like prior to us ever doing that. When I watched wrestling, I broke down how to do the moves that they were doing. That's why I was able to do the Deathlock, and you couldn't. That's how I got the finish. But I always broke this down, and I always wanted that avenue to like take this somewhere else. I had a lot of, in retrospect, terrible ideas that I wanted to do. Like my first thought for the character was, I know how to do all these moves. I want to do them all. So I'm not going to have a finish. I'm going to be that guy who could finish, from anywhere. And then after 3 matches, I'm like, this is stupid. I'm just going to have a finisher. But it just got me, I guess, allowed me to do some trial and error of what I thought, or preconceived ideas of what I thought was a good idea. And then even though it's not going out to, the masses, us rewatching it, I was able to see what didn't work, and it kind of opened up my eyes a little bit for when I watch the product now. Not even remotely to the same level of actually becoming a pro wrestler someday. I don't want to don't hate on his internet. I'm not going that route. But it got me thinking about it on a different level, I think.
Right. And I agree with that too. It's like, it was minuscule and nowhere near as good as even the worst professional wrestling product out there now. No matter how, we were definitely nowhere near that level, near as good as that. But the thing was, I do feel that I learned to appreciate Shane a lot more. Like, that was my biggest thing. Like, that's when I started really liking Shane. It's just because, and I think it's similar to what Duel would say, and I did want to bring this up loosely, but the two of you big Metallica fans, and I swear this will tie into what I'm saying. But Metallica fans, Duel has always specified the reason why. Now, I'm not a Metallica guy, but that you've always said you liked, hammer-ons, and what's the other stuff that you like that I don't know?
Hammer-ons and pull-offs.
And why do you like that kind of stuff?
Because it sounds cool.
Well,
You know,
there's a lot of talent involved
Aha.
with doing that.
right, because you do it, you know how difficult it is, and therefore you appreciate when other people
Right.
do it.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
And, even though you may not be performing on Metallica's level, you still appreciate when they do it. And that was kind of the thing for me. Now I don't play guitar whatsoever, so I have no appreciation for that kind of stuff. I mean, it's good that you have that talent, but when it comes to, I might be nowhere near these professional level guys, but even the smallest things, like being able to just string together two common moves that you see all the time, and you realize even that is more complicated than it looks, and they just make it look easy.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I started appreciating chaining, because it's like a hammer-on or a pull-off and, whatever.
Or like playing pool, same
Yeah.
concepts.
As I say, I feel like we took pride in what we did, and
Yes.
even though the product wasn't going to be viewed or consumed by
Yeah.
anybody,
And it was clearly made by children.
It clearly was, but you know what? We weren't juvenile.
Right.
We were children, but we weren't
Trying as best as we could.
Trying best to not be juvenile. Trying to go
Right.
against our adolescent nature at that point, and even into our early 20s when we sort of kind of continued on or flirted with the idea of continuing on. It was something that we understood where it was and where it could go. And as Sean said, viewing the tapes or looking things over. I mean, I'm a coach also, and that's what you do when you're trying to improve your team. That's what I felt like we were trying to do. We're trying to improve our brand, so to speak. It was.
I can also say that, speaking to what you brought up previously with the stories, when I'm playing the new WWE games, I recreate every single time
Every
I
time,
buy one.
every time.
And I go through the storylines that we've done because I like the storyline. And we stopped before we really got to finish some of the stories that we had really been building to since the beginning.
Yeah. And I think we got better and better as time went
Yeah.
on too. Like, it just makes me wonder if we kept going.
I just wish we had that Iron Man match, man.
Yeah, I do not have the cardio to do that now.
No, absolutely. I got winded walking into the studio today.
when you're driving here.
It's like I get gas worse than Baron Corbin.
Oh, come on! Give yourself
tell
some credit.
yourself
Yeah, don't sell
short.
yourself that short. But we had a lot of things we weren't wrap up. But yes, Hollywood and Scorpion were supposed to have an Iron Man match, and that was supposed to be big. We definitely wanted to do
It was
that.
going to be I had an undefeated streak that was meant to, I wasn't just going to be undefeated forever. It was meant to make it a bigger deal when Hollywood came back and won the belt from me. And we never got to go there. And I had all these storyline ideas I wanted to do after, because everyone that put me over for years, I wanted to lose to them again
Right.
on the way down. And you had that story where Glazier was going to become my sidekick. And there's so much cool stuff that we were going to do, and we just never got to do it.
And real quick, I actually wasn't going to bring this up, but so what did all of us get your daughter for? For her birth.
Yeah, I actually considered bringing her here today, but I'm like,
Nice.
it's like having her screaming in the background might not be great for the audio.
Oh, she
But-
doesn't cry. I swear, she's
No, but she grunts a lot, so she'd be sitting there while I'm talking about my finish, and she'd be like, eh.
because I'm gonna,
Like, your chain sex.
and I.
But
yeah.
no, they got her. They got myself, my wife, and her something for when we had the baby shower. So they got me a T-shirt that said Scorpion, which he
picture
was
do it.
hoping I'd wear today, so he wouldn't be the
only one wearing my
idiot self-promoting himself.
Hey man, I'm proud of myself.
Got me that. Got my daughter a onesie that says Escorpincita, because my wife is Scorpioncita, because my wife's from Spain, so it's the ongoing thing. And my wife's shirt was Mama de Scorpioncita.
Let's wrap this up. Final thoughts. Let's go around the room. Lou, you're up first.
I think it's something I enjoy doing. I would have loved, as you said, to kind of do it, not again, but do it maybe the right way. I would have loved at some point to use some of our connections, maybe get a match in an actual ring, just that one time.
Yeah.
Just to say that, and I know we talk about renting one at some point, like I would love to have done that, but things left in the past sometimes, much like the tapes themselves, I'm assuming, are probably best left unwatched now.
Wow, all right, that's poetic.
Depending on which tape.
Yeah, anything with me giving an interview definitely should
the
not.
first tape or two definitely
Yeah.
should be watched.
Duel, what you got?
For what?
Final thoughts.
Actually, I've been wanting to say this the whole time, but just the fact that Dave put a lot of work into the Federation, like a lot of creativity. You don't really think about it being one of the guys just doing the wrestling, but I mean, Dave did all the Mitcheltrons, all the editing involved, even the video,
Like now.
even the yes. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
He's got a great channel that you guys are all fans of, and this was the beginning of
Yeah.
Dave,
Yeah.
you know, learning his editing and all that. And
Dave was
but-
learning wrestling back then.
Dave was learning wrestling.
Uh-huh.
He didn't know it. He knew it a little.
But poetic, Barry.
But and also even the fact, like right down to the details of the videotapes that he taped it on. He even made like labels
Oh,
like
yeah,
Wrestle
yeah.
War and Columbus Rumble, and it
That
like
he would draw out.
yeah, he would draw like illustrate them and everything. So it's just a creativity involved. So I always gave props to you. And every time I
Thank
talked
you.
about it, like, you know, back when I was in high school and me and my friends did this backyard wrestling thing. But we were in backyard. We didn't do that dumb stuff that kids were jumping off of roofs. And ours was like a top-notch production. And I always...
In our minds, it was.
In our minds, it
definitely
compared to that
We separated
stuff. And-
ourselves. Yeah,
I
sorry.
mean, and one more thing, just the fact that like when Dave would go back and he would do commentary on the matches, so when you would watch it, you would hear him do different voices. He'd do like a JR voice and a Mitchell voice and everything
I
like
love
that.
the
So,
Jim Mitchell voice.
so yeah, just
And the sound effects.
yeah.
Yeah, Sean. Well, thank you, Sean. Your final thoughts.
I guess it kind of ties in with what Lou said. Like, I had a great time doing it. I would never recommend. Once again,
Anyone
don't
doing-
do this at home. Like,
Yeah,
it
as a
was-
dad, if your
Yeah.
daughter grows up and says, "I want to do that,"
like, absolutely not. But I do sometimes wish, like, you know, maybe in an alternative universe somewhere, that, you know, we had actually somehow all gone on to become pro wrestlers and just do it the right way. That would have been awesome. Because it's something that, like, if they could have taken what we were doing but done it well, I think it would have actually been pretty popular. The storytelling was there. A lot of elements that are at times, I don't want to say completely missing, but at times missing from today's product. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you for being on today. And this has been great. So thank you guys for coming on. And thank you for listening, because this has been the Dave Knows Wrestling Podcast.